numbers at the stock market. Martha Vincent joins us live from the Ayala trading floor. Martha.
Good morning, Ron. Well, since opening, the market has been trading sideways with an upward bias. Right now, the PSE index is at 43.18, up by about 0.8% or 6 points. This is mostly due to buying in stocks like, let me just check on that, ICCSI and Aboitiz Equity Ventures. Now, checking quickly on RCBC, because the exchange imposed a 1-hour trading halt on RCB earlier on after the bank announced that Hong Kong-based CVC Capital acquired a 15% stake in RCBC for 4.96 billion pesos. And because of that news, the shares of RCB right now up by about 8% or 30 centavos, last traded at 28.80 per share, although earlier it did trade at a high of 29.15. And of course, it's a Friday, so it's time for another Stock Market 101 episode or segment at that. And our topic this morning is about wealth creation, and for that we are joined by Mr. Armand Benco. He is the Executive Director of the Colayco Foundation for Education. Good morning, sir, and thank you for joining us.
Yes, good morning, and we're happy to be here.
So first of all, can you define wealth for us?
In our books, literally and figuratively, wealth is a state of being, meaning it's not equated with 10, 15, 20, 100, or 1 billion pesos.
Okay.
It's a state of being wherein you can afford not to work, but continue your chosen cost and kind of lifestyle. So even wealthy people work, but they work because they want to, not because we have to, just like most of us. We still have to work. I'm not wealthy yet.
Okay. But, you know, when you talk about wealth, there is a connotation that you can only grow wealth if you already are, you know, if you already, for example, have at least 1 million pesos in the bank or something like that.
Right. We disagree, because once you are an income earner, no matter what income level you are into, wealth is within your reach. That's the title for our first book that written by Mr. Francisco Colayco. We really encourage and motivate people to get into wealth generation. It's not easy. It's not automatic.
A lot of discipline.
It requires a lot of discipline, decisiveness, and determination. But it can be reached, and it's not equated by having a starting capital of 1 million in the bank. As long as you are earning income and you have the proper tools and use these tools, you can be wealthy.
And of course, a lot of things also make growing your wealth easier. Your allies in wealth creation. Tell us about them.
Yes, there are simple allies that are free that we can easily use. I can name 3. There's time, and we all know what time is. It's the greatest equalizer. We have to make good use of time. Second is this thing called compounding. Compounding is man's greatest invention. Albert Einstein said that. Because it's just a concept, but with so much impact in human society. Why? You want to earn on interest upon interest. You don't take the earnings right away, probably because you have a certain target or financial goal. You keep on putting money, saving regularly. For example, if you are saving 1,000 pesos a month, and in 240 months or 20 years, that will amount to only 240,000. With compounding, say 10% or 20%, at 10%, that would amount to 724,000. The money that came out from your pocket, only 240,000. You have a potential of 724 because of this thing called compounding.
Okay, we have a chart that will show that, just so we can give our viewers an idea as to how compounding really works and really the difference between how much, you know, you would have had. Okay, so there goes.
The blue one is being compounded at 10%. The black figures are being compounded at 20%. So a 30-year period, the money that came out from your pocket is 360,000. What's the potential gain? Anywhere from 2.1 to 15.7 million. 2.1 if you can compound it on the average 10% a year over a period of 30 years, or at 20%, it can reach to 15.7 million pesos. And that's the beauty of compounding. It grows exponentially. At 40 years, the career life of an individual, it can grow to 5 to 97 million pesos in your 40-year life working. Why is that significant? If we just depend on, for example, the SSS or the pension
that we have there.
We have the government-provided government pension funds. Based from SSS, the average pension of a retiree is anywhere from 400 to 600,000 pesos only. So definitely that will not be enough. So from your own initiative, own investing endeavor, 1,000 pesos a month. Those are the figures that that you can acquire, you can get after a period of time. Of course, compounding works with time. You cannot compound at 100% in a day, in a month, or in a year. So we have to be patient and work with time. Another ally is this thing called leverage. Leverage simply means you are using resources outside of your own limitation. For example, we all see the good performance of our stock market. An indirect way of investing in the stock market is using leverage by pooling your resources through a mutual fund. That's the best example of leverage, because your 1,000 pesos, you need not study much if you are not very adept yet in direct stock market investing. You can indirectly invest in the stock market through mutual funds. You're participating in our capital market. Another example of leverage is money leverage, debt, utang. Debt is our biggest ally. If we are given the privilege to borrow money and make good use of that privilege, it will really help us and increase our capital to wealth generation. The wealthiest individual, the biggest companies, the powerful countries, they make good use of debt.
But of course, if there are friends, there are enemies as well. Let's go to them. And you have about 5 enemies in terms of wealth creation.
Yes.
First one being?
Inflation. We all know that, the increase of prices. I don't want to be technical about inflation. Simply, it is the increase of prices, and it affects our saving and investing endeavor. Why? Our benchmark, whenever we save or invest, it should beat the inflation rate. Like for the past 5 years, our inflation is averaging about 5%. If you are just putting your money in a savings account, and it gives you 0.5 or let's say 1%, inflation is at 5% on the average.
So in the case of what we're showing here?
Yes, last year, inflation is 3.8%. That means if you have placed your money in a savings account at 1%, your money would have grown to 101, while prices have increased to 103 pesos already. So you're not growing with the economy. That is why you have to be informed and aware of other investment vehicles like the stock market that can beat the inflation rate. Not on a yearly basis probably, but at least over a period of time. Like for the past 5 years, 5% inflation rate. Easily the stock market has beaten, our Philippine Stock Exchange has beaten the 5-year average inflation rate of 5%.
Okay. And I'm not sure if I want to talk about the 4 others, but you have no choice.
Yes, the 4 others, procrastination.
These are the things that people really don't want to deal with.
Yes,
for example,
procrastination keep on delaying. People would always have the best excuse, reason, valid or not, not to get into saving or investing. Procrastination costs you. From our compounding slide of 2.5 million in 20 years. If you just delay 1 year, you will lose about 500,000 pesos. Instead of you delay 1 year in that 20-year period, you will lose 500,000 pesos. You will only get 2 million. If you can afford to lose 500,000, so be it. It's okay. But procrastination, no matter how much money you save, no matter how longer you invest, it is always at the advantage of those who started early.
Okay, and it gets tougher. From procrastination, you have spending habits.
Yes, spending habits. Spending habits, just a simple tip, you have to be a planned spender than an impulsive buyer. Buy only when you need. Not because there's a sale. Like this weekend.
I know, it's the 13th, and I'm sure you know, it's payday Friday. Not because it's the in thing this weekend. Or prices are marked down and that's reason enough.
Right,
no, it's not.
No. You have to buy that you need. Whether there's a sale or not, if you need it, you will buy it. And then the next is customs and traditions. There are 777 fiestas on record in the Philippines.
Oh, wow.
And you know the common story in the provinces, in the rural areas, when there's a fiesta, you know, they even borrow money just to
put food on the table,
so that their
neighbors can come in and, you know.
And the guests can be accommodated. Or every first birthday, 7th birthday, it's it is as if it's written on the birth certificate, but it's not.
Okay.
We have to have some form of celebration. These customs and traditions, they're there for a certain reason, not for us to be in trouble of our personal finances. And of course, taxes.
I'm not sure if the BIR will be happy, but to consider them as enemies of
it's an enemy
self-creation,
if you are not aware of them.
Okay.
For example, the regular investor would think of a real estate, for example, and you'll be surprised. They are not aware that there is a thing called real estate tax.
Right.
There's capital gains tax when you sell your property. So know the tax implications. Every legitimate money transaction, money coming in, money coming out, there are tax implications. If you're blindsided by it, you may lose your gains or the interest income. So those allies, those enemies, you have to know, just like in the art of war, know them so you can beat them.
Okay, and of course, there's so much more to know about wealth creation and your group, your company, the Colaco Foundation for Education. Of course, you do a lot of seminars as well.
Yes, and if I may, we publish books, Wealth Within Your Reach. It's the Pera Palaguin series. It's available in national bookstores and other popular bookstores. It's available nationwide. You can check our website, www.colaicofoundation.com. We give a free ebook right away once you visit our website. And of course, our public seminars. We will be having one on May 28th. It's about mutual funds for your indirect investing in the capital market. May 21, that will be done in Shaw Boulevard, Pasig. You may call 637-3741 for details and reservations.
Okay, now I would like to thank you, Mr. Armand.
Thank you very much
for joining us this morning. So I hope you guys will start on that wealth creation project for, of course, your own good. And checking on the market again, the PSE index now at 43.19, up by about 7 points. Value turnover stands at 1.24 billion pesos. And at the foreign exchange market now, the peso opened at 43.150 from its close yesterday of 43.11. And as of 10:10 this morning, it has reached a weighted average of 43.195 on volume of trades worth $488.7 million. And that's the latest from the Ayala trading floor. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks for that, Martha.